And this is the Joy News channel. Thanks for staying with us. This is the polls with me, Blessed Sogan. We need to also pay attention to some other issues, but just gone by is the General Secretary of the governing New Patriotic Party, John Boydu, giving some new modalities to the reorganization process happening within the NPP. We'll get back to that later, but our top story this hour that we've been focusing on, the Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Adami is facing a pushback over his claims that the surest way of getting parliamentary representation for residents of Central Kofi, Likpe, Lolobi and Akpafo is to annul the 2020 parliamentary elections results for the Buem Constituency. The aggrieved residents of SALL have been mounting pressure to get representation in Parliament after they were disenfranchised in the 2020 parliamentary elections. However, answering an urgent question in Parliament, the AG is of the opinion that the only way to resolve the issue is to annul the parliamentary elections for Buem.
The Office of the Attorney General finalized work on the draft constitutional instrument and further sent to the Electoral Commission and a cover of correspondence dated 30th November 2020. The office further advised the Electoral Commission to, in line with parliamentary procedure, engage a parliamentary committee on subsidiary legislation to consider the draft instrument before the instrument is laid in Parliament. Indeed, as the Office of the Attorney General apprehended and had cautioned in its letter of 18 November 2020, processes leading to its creation, that the creation of the Buem Constituency could not materialize since Parliament went on recess for the December 2020 elections on 9th November 2020. The same day that the LI creating the Buem district came into force, implying that the constitutional instrument for the creation of the Buem constituency could not be laid before Parliament. The record shows that Parliament resumed only on Monday, 14 December 2020, a week after the 2020 elections. In order to prevent a palpable constitutional crisis to be occasioned if the residents of the Buem district, i.e. the SALL areas, voted for a member of Parliament for the Buem constituency, which is part of the Jaskant district, on the eve of the 7th December general elections, the Electoral Commission directed the residents of the Buem district to only vote the presidential and not the parliamentary election. When Parliament resumed sitting on 14 December 2020, the Electoral Commission could not lay the amendment to CI 128 for want of the mandatory 21 sitting days for same to come into force before the dissolution of the 7th Parliament on the midnight of Wednesday, 6 January 2021. The reality is that the creation of a new Buem constituency consisting of the SALL areas shall only come into effect upon the next dissolution of Parliament, i.e. 6 January 2025. This is the effect of Article 47, Clause 6 of the Constitution. Alternatively, if it is desired that the creation comes into force, the way to achieve representation of the SALL people in Parliament, in this term of Parliament, is to do two things. The first is to revoke LI 2416, establishing the Buem district, which would imply that the residents of SALL will remain under the Buem district. The second step is to annul the 2020 parliamentary election organized for the Buem constituency, to allow residents of the 4 SALL communities qualified to vote under Article 42 of the Constitution to exercise their right to elect a member of Parliament to represent them, since CI 128, used for the conduct of the 2020 parliamentary elections, had already placed the SALL areas under Buem constituency. A placement of the SALL areas under the Buem district and an annulment of the Buem parliamentary election in order to allow the residents of SALL to vote for a member of Parliament in the Buem constituency would eliminate the risk of a violation of Article 242, paragraph B.
So that's the opinion of the Attorney General, Godfred Yeboah-Adami. But what does the law say about this? Let's bring you excerpts of Article 47 now of the 1992 Constitution, and you have that on your screens now. Excerpts actually talking about Article 47(5), that's where it starts from, indicating that the Electoral Commission shall obviously review the division of Ghana into constituencies at intervals of not less than 7 years or within 12 months after the publication of the enumeration figures, after the holding of a census of the population of Ghana, whichever is earlier, and may as a result alter the constituencies. There's point 6, which the Attorney General is referring to, Article 47(6) of the 1992 Constitution. And that's where the issue is. Where the boundaries of a constituency established under this article are altered as a result of a review, the alteration shall come into effect upon the dissolution of Parliament. So that's the route that the Attorney General has been relying on, asking that first of all, we need to annul the elections so that there could be a fresh exercise to pave way for those within the SALL area to actually participate in the parliamentary election, because that will be a fresh process. Many of you are wondering where exactly you can find the SALL areas that we're talking about, and we can just put that on the screen for you, a live map indicating where these communities are. Initially, they used to be at the pale yellow area that you can see on your screens now. Hokwe municipality is where all of these communities used to be, and you can see to the north there, Akpafu is there. You have Likpe to the east, I presume. And then these are communities that used to be part of the Hokwe municipality, but now due to the creation of the new region, they are finding themselves in a new place, and that's changing the dynamics of the place. But we also need to bring to your attention the population dynamics now. During the 2020 elections, the population for the area appears to be different with the situation 10 years ago, because a new area or a new constituency has been carved out, excluding the SALL constituency, and you have that on your screens right now, the 2010 population figures and the 2020 population figures. We'll get that for you shortly as and when the discussion goes on. But fortunately, I've been joined by persons who understand what's happening now and who have obviously some stake in this. We need to break down the matters. Dr. Joe Adai is co-chairman of the Joint Steering Committee for the SALL traditional area, and also the MP for Buem, the Honorable Kofi Adams, is here with us as well. Gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to the polls.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for having us.
Right. Obviously, the Honorable Kofi Adams will be bearing the brunt of it if indeed we are to annul the election results. I'll come for his take on that. But let me start off with you, Dr. Joe Adai. First of all, you're challenging some portions of the Justice Buem Commission report, right? You are questioning excerpts of that report. We'll be bringing you excerpts of what they're challenging. But your point is that in the first place, you did not write to the president asking the president that you had wanted to move out of your original municipality, which is the Hokwe municipality. Explain that to us.
Yeah, exactly. So, point of correction. I am co-chairman of the Joint Steering Committee of Akpafu and Lolobi traditional areas.
Right.
And SALL comprises of 4 traditional areas. That is Santrokofi, Akpafu, Lolobi, and Likpe. Yes, to your first point, what happened is that, you know, the president made the whole world understand that he's relying on Article 5.2 to create new regions. And 5.2 specifically states that, yes, there must be a demand or a petition from whatever traditional council is involved. And we can speak on authority that Lolobi and Akpafu traditional areas never petitioned to be part of the Buem, of the OT region.
Right.
Yes, so I just want to throw light on what transpired.
Right.
Somewhere in July, there was an announcement by the EC telling us that we should go and partake in the referendum. So what happened was that the 2 paramount chiefs of the 2 traditional areas wrote officially to the EC asking them, if we didn't petition, why are you asking us to go and do the referendum or partake in the referendum?
Right.
So when we visited there, I think that was on the 17th of September 2018.
Right.
Yes, the EC is on record to admit in the presence of 5 other commissioners that yes, we were put there in error, but her hands are tied. So we should go and see the president or Honorable Danboche, who was in charge of the reintegration. So we wrote again to Honorable Danboche demanding answers to what is happening. Right. So we eventually happened to meet him on the 18th of November 2018. And there he's on record to have admitted that we were actually placed there in error. So we asked him, if we are placed there in error, why can't you correct these abnormalities?
Right.
And he said it is too late because of time frame, so we should rather go and partake in the referendum. And I think you can imagine what transpired. We told them, no, once you have placed us there in error, you should be able to correct this abnormally. And then he went further to say, oh, if we don't get 50% turnout and then 80% yes, we will be placed back in Hohoe. So that is the first phase of it.
So you're creating the impression now that you were, in fact, forced to partake in the referendum?
Yes, that is so. And we had over 95% boycott because our people said they don't want to be part of OT. And to reiterate that again, you know, Lolobi or the SALL area originally used to be, was part of the Buem Jessica, what do you call, territory. Okay. I mean, during the colonial era.
Right. It was Buem Karachi.
Yeah, Buem Karachi. So what happened was that there was a nasty incident that took place. And then the case had to travel to the Eastern Province, that is the Supreme Court of the Eastern Province in Kufodria. Okay. And it was there that the judge ruled that for peace to pertain or prevail, Lolobi and Akpafu should be removed from Jessica Buem and then padded to, what do you call this one? Biakuye, right. Nkonya Biakuye. Right. So as far back as 1945, Lolobi and Akpafu, you know, we had the same.
So there are historical ties.
Yes. Right. So we were removed from Jessica Buem district. Okay. And then I think it was some few years later, then Central Kofi and Likpe also joined. Right. So when we got to, what do you call it, Biakuye, I think the conditions were not too conducive. So somewhere in 1978, by then Hohoe was actually under Bando. So through the instrumental work of our chiefs and other stakeholders, we were the original, what do you call it, formers of the Hohoe, the current Hohoe Assembly.
Okay, so that was the first move. So you pushed for that area to be carved out, so it could contain SALL, Central Kofi, Akpafu, Lolobi, and Likpe.
Yes, there were other stakeholders, including Evli, Alavanyo, Ve, and some other places. So that was how the whole thing transpired. So what happened was that in 1992, 10 chiefs from the northern part of Volta region, including Likpe and Central Kofi. You see, I just wanted to prove to everybody that there is a historical background that Lolobi and Akpafu had always maintained their status quo, that they don't want to be part of the OT enclave. Right. So we have documents to prove that 10 traditional areas, including Central Kofi and Likpe, all the way to Ketekrachi, petitioned PNDC government. That was on the 13th of January 1992, that a separate region must be created for them. And on the 28th of April 1992, the then paramount chief of Akpafu traditional area, Nana Boafo Gadagari I, wrote to the then PNDC government to distance Lolobi and Akpafu from this move. So you could see that we had been very consistent and said, no, we don't, because of historical challenges, we don't want to be part of OT. So when the, what do you call this, the Electoral Commission says we should go and vote, that was why our people said, no, we are not part of it. Yes. So far, that is the historical background.
But we'll come back to the challenges that are coming through now, the opinion of the Attorney General and all of that. But let me start off on that leg with Kofi Adams, who's with us. You disagree, obviously, with the decision of the Attorney General. But what solution are you proffering as a means of dealing with this constitutional crisis that we're facing now?
Well, good afternoon to you again and to your viewers. Constitutional crisis bestowed on us as a result of clear incompetence of government and its appointees. That's what has resulted in all these situations. And instead of them showing a certain sign of remorse, you are rather getting them arrogantly behaving as if the people of Guam or SALL are the ones who were at fault. They cause something and you are trying to help them. You are behaving as if you are rather trying to help them. But all these have happened as a result of the failure of government to act in such a way that would describe them as being competent. Because one, this is not the first time a district will ever be created or have been created in this country. This is not the first time that the constituency boundaries will be reviewed. And this, of course, will not be the first time that a new region would have been created. But why is it the case that in this case, we are having all the problems that we are having? And so it is important to resolve the foundational issues. Then you can now progress on. But even as you work to resolve these foundational issues, you don't start to spite them as if they are not part and parcel of a country called Ghana. Well, we have agreed to go multi-party democracy, and in doing so, we've agreed that constituencies will be created. We have accepted that everybody who is an adult must be given the right to register and be given the opportunity to vote. Unfortunately, for the people of SALL, when it came to the 2020 elections, they demonstrated to be allowed to register. They managed to register because, of course, for some of them, like Dr. Adai is saying, those who truly petitioned to belong to OT were promised a district. And so they were demanding for that. Whilst this was going on, those who also did not petition, that is the Akpafu and Lolobi group, who are more like cousins because the language they speak is
similar,
even though they are different traditional areas, but the language is what? Similar. We're also fighting their rights to be recognized, to belong to Volta region. And by extension, that will mean they will be under Ohwe municipal and not this current Guam or Jasikan as they sought to suggest. So, for me, sitting here, one, representation is important. And I represent people. So I must see to it that every other person is represented.
And that's where we need a solution. Obviously, as we speak now, persons who are from Central Kofi Akpafu, Likwe areas now belong to the OT region. They need representation.
Sure.
The Attorney General has put a solution out. The question is, what are you scared of? Why not allow that process to go through?
Representation is not done at the regional level. Representation is done at the constituency level.
Obviously, but you can't have SALL move to Hohwe now. That's the challenge.
Well, nobody is asking that move SALL to Hohwe or move SALL to Buem. That's not the question I posed to him. Was the status of the draft CI for the creation of a Buem constituency. And I described it as, I didn't want to be mentioning the traditional areas because I am minded that two traditional areas, that is Akpafu and Lolobi, are still contesting and are in court. So I only use the term Buem, whether that is just Likpe and Central Kofi or inclusion of any other part. I didn't want to define it as constituency for all these areas.
But be it as it may, he says the solution is right at your doorstep.
Well, he's saying the solution is that his president, President Nana Danko Akufo-Addo, acted incompetently by creating the Buem district. That's what he's saying.
But be it as it may, the solution lies with you.
He says that the president acted incompetently and that President Nana is incompetent. And that Speaker Michael Kwe, who allowed the laying of the LI 2416, acted incompetently.
He didn't use those words.
Well, that is the meaning. He said to be sorry that this parliament is also to be blamed for allowing the passage of the LI 2416. And that, in other words, they acted incompetently, and that, according to him, the solution is that government must annul the LI 2416. In other words, the Buem district, which was recently inaugurated by the Minister for Local Government and Reorganization and Decentralization, must be annulled. It ceased to exist. So OT as a region will now move from 9 districts to 8. If the government intentionally wanted to develop structures, intensify local governance, you would not be advising and working towards reducing the number of local government structure, i.e. districts, from 9 to 8. That has never happened to any region. Tell me which region from 1992 have had its districts reduced. That is why the Attorney General is proposing to his government that we should reduce the number of districts in Oti region from 9 to 8. And when we have done so, and a court pronounced on the Buem elections, they will now ask the people of this Guam area to participate in the election of an MP for Buem. A process. I must tell you that they were ready, they were stopped. Another truth that must be told every other person is that,
they were stopped.
of course, it was the Electoral Commission issued this statement on the 6th December 2020. The material for voting has been bagged in all the ballot boxes. The 50 polling stations have had their material packaged before this statement came out. And so the Electoral Commission single-handedly opened the sealed ballot boxes and removed the parliamentary ballot material from the boxes. That was what the Electoral Commission...
And these are claims that we cannot verify.
I am telling you, I will not come and sit here. Why did you invite me? Did you not invite me because I was a key participant?
But you are alleging.
I am not alleging. I am telling you that. And I spoke to the district electoral officer, Shani, and told him if they open those ballot boxes in our absence because we were not coming, and something happens, it will be on their head. I constantly engage the director of electoral services. I still have conversation on our phones because I was speaking to him on this matter. So it is not a matter that I left lying like that. The CI 119 that they kept referring to.
Right.
The truth also is that all the 13 elected assembly members in the SALL zone, or the Guam now as it is called, never participated in Jasikan district assembly activity. They were never sworn in. They were elected in December 2019. They did not participate in the inauguration in Jasikan district in that 2019 or the whole of 2020. It was only recently in 2021 that they had an inauguration at Likpe Mate. So when they talked about CI 119, government knew. The local government minister was aware. Honorable Dambochwe, the reorganization minister, then as he was aware. The former regional minister and the current regional minister were all aware that the 13 elected assembly members never participated in anything Jasikan.
Right.
And so in calculating the government appointees for Jasikan district, now municipal, we used the 27 elected assembly members under Buem and Jasikan, the district chief executive and the MP in calculating the 30%, which gave us the 12. So when they sit and talk as if the Lolobi, Akpafu, Likpe, and Central Kofi areas were really under Jasikan, that's another falsehood.
Right, and let's put up the numbers that we have from the National Housing and Population Census. You can see the figures for yourself. A stark difference from 2021, the recent census that was conducted within the Hokwe municipality, indicating that their population has actually reduced from 262,046 way back in 2010. Obviously, this period would have involved the Central Kofi, Akpafu, Likpe, and Lolobi areas because you were all part of that number. Now it's reduced to 114,472 as we speak. There's a numbers game at play as we speak, and obviously will translate into the political power. Obviously, there's a need for us to explore that angle as well. I'll be taking the thoughts of Kofi Adams on that shortly, but let me start off with you, Dr. Dai. Looking at the numbers now, where do you want to belong? Do you want to go back to Hokwe, or would you want to go into the Buem, or have the new constituency created for you?
You see, it is not about going back to where you wanted to be. Because if you can remember, on the 16th of November 2020, we wrote exclusively to the EC, trying to remind them that our people needed to vote in the parliamentary elections. And I believe on the 30th, the EC organized a press conference and told the whole world that the SALL communities will be voting under their mother constituency.
Right.
And since the inception of the Fourth Republic, I don't know any other constituency that we can call a mother constituency. You see, they gave the assurance to the whole world. because we took our inspirations from the fact that there was a judgment on the, if I'm permitted to read, that is on the 24th of June. That is the judgment of the Supreme Court, reference number 16/01/20, in the case between Valentine Edem Jache versus Henry Ametepe and 5 others. And the ruling exclusively said that the existing electoral mandate must be preserved under CI 95. 95 until after 6 January 2021. By implication, we, the people of Lolobi and Akpafu areas, are preserved by this CI. And then the judgment.
So that would definitely mean that in the last elections, you were supposed to have voted.
Yes, according to the Supreme Court ruling, they made it exclusively clear that CI 95 is still valid until January 6, 2021.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
And here is a case that when it came to the nomination of candidates, the supervision of the voting and all that, we all presented our candidates in Buem Constituency. You understand? And the same EC came to supervise, nominate, and approve on everything. You understand? So if anything to come by, what the Attorney General is suggesting, it should rather be the Buem must be rerun, because that is where we.
So you want rather a rerun of the Buem?
Yeah, because you see,
not the Buem.
No, you see, elections are processes.
Right.
You have to put nominations up, you vet them, you do all those processes. Because right now, like the Attorney General is suggesting, Buem Constituency is strange to us because we don't even know, or we have never participated in any electoral process there. So for you to come out now and said we should be padded to this is rather muddying the waters, because from this judgment, you see, because Electoral Commission, Attorney General was also aware that there were this, but they allowed us to, participate in the electoral process, and then the eve before the elections, you come up and said, no, these people cannot vote. You see, because the Constitution does not even mandate the EC to do that, because they exceeded their mandate, you understand? So like Honorable Kofi Adams is saying, the problem is that from beginning, there was something very faulty, which didn't hold. You understand?
We know that there are some matters in court, obviously. I don't know how far with that. But if the election is to be annulled, do you want the Buem municipality, the Buem constituency to be annulled so you can have the opportunity of voting? But you are also within a new region. That's the constitutional challenge there. You are within a new administrative region. So how do we reconcile that? Because you're no longer in the Volta region. That's a challenge there.
I believe that is somebody's perception, because like I reiterated.
But it's not perception that you're in the OT region. You are still in the OT region.
You see, because if you remember, our constitution is very flexible. It states that if there is any adverse finding against an individual of a group of people, they should be given the chance to challenge that order or ruling. And then we patiently waited for the Justice Brobe's report to come out. And on the 9th, can you imagine, on the 9th of September 2019, we appealed against Justice Brobe's findings. To date, our case have never been called. We wrote to the Chief Justice reminding him of this peculiar situation. It fell on deaf ears.
What has happened to that case?
It is still, it has not been called.
Have you made any attempts at following up on the demands that you made to the
We are doing that every day. That is the reason why we wrote to the Chief Justice, because we were faced with judicial frustrations from the highest order. No, because since 2019, you imagine when Honorable Peter Amewu's case was called, within 6 days, the same Attorney General was able to move this case from Ho to Accra, and then it was resolved. Then what?
Judicial frustration.
Yes,
you feel the Chief Justice is complicit in all of this? He could have averted. He could
I am not saying that, because
you feel he could have averted the situation.
Yeah, because he is the head of the judiciary. So if you are facing frustrations, who do you? Let me put it in my layman's English. Right. If you are in a school and there are some challenges, you go to the headmaster. If that analogy could be accepted here. Yes, so the Chief Justice is the head of the judiciary. So because it's an head of over 3 years. you pay your processes and whatever it is, and they will not call the case. The only time they call, they said it's adjourned. You should move to another court. And how do you call? Is it not frustration?
Have you made any more attempts to get to the Chief Justice so something can be done about this?
That is why when we wrote to him, he never responded, and then we wrote a follow-up letter, and still it is at the same state. So our lawyers have appealed, and the appeal process is 3 years, nothing is happening. So it should tell you that there is something basically wrong somewhere. You understand? Because, you see, before an appeal case can go on, or let me start it from this way. 6 months after the publication of any Commission of Inquiry's report, it becomes an automatic judgment of the High Court.
Right.
So if we are all sincere and ready to uphold this constitution, what should have happened? The judgment should have been available to all the courts, even the parliament. You understand?
So let me bring in Honorable Kofi Adams at this point, and that's a big challenge. Judicial frustration, he's calling it. I don't know how you want to term this, but there's the political angle as well. That game of numbers in Parliament now. All sides, as you say, you are in dire need of the parliamentary seats. You don't want to lose either of the seats, whether it's in the Volta region or elsewhere. Here we are. The NPP is having one of its seats. Its only seat in the Volta region is Hohwe. Here we are. The government says we need to go for a rerun in your area and not Hohwe. Do you suspect that politics is beginning to creep into all of this?
Well, clearly, if you listen and analyze the behavior of the Attorney General in all these matters, then you know right from the word go that it's politics. Why do I say so? I say so because I, as a politician, in the final days of my campaigns, from 3rd through 4th to 5th of December 2020, I spent it in the SALL areas. Indeed, when I got to Likwe Mate, I was chased out because the people there said they didn't want to have anything to do with Buem, and that we were not to even come because I was suspecting that maybe they would say they should vote. So we went there. I was chased out. They also chased Mr. Aziale, who was also the MPP candidate. He was also chased out. Indeed, and this chase out was being pushed much more by the MPP activists in that area. Indeed, on Sunday, the 6th of December, they organized a press conference in the morning to state clearly, based on the promises they have received from their leadership, that a special election will be conducted for the people of now Guam after the 2020 general election for them to have their member. Indeed, they actually had a proposed candidate. They have had a candidate who was going around establishing offices. And I believe if Dr. Adair, because he is focusing on their principal position of not belonging to OT, he may not maybe admit some of these details I'm talking about, but he knows truly that they were establishing offices and they had proposed candidates and where the person was going to come from and so on and so forth. I know the person, but I don't, because they didn't organize a conference to so elect the lady. Right. I will not mention her, but she's a lady. Right. So they led all these processes. I am surprised that from yesterday till now they are quiet. When the Attorney General is telling them that we are coming to annul your district and send you to Buem, where you have never been part of. Not even when they attempted to create CI 119, which placed the electoral areas under Jasikan district, did you go? They didn't go. They decided for the entire period, the assembly members elected will be without an assembly. They were not in Hohwe and they were not in Jasikan. And so Jasikan was not taking care of them. Hohwe was not taking care of them. That was what happened for the almost 2 years from December 2019 when the district level elections were conducted till 2021 when they inaugurated the Guan Assembly. So it is not just about annulling, but it's about the deception. Government officials and members of, especially the MPP, who went there and gave those promises should be ashamed of themselves. You feel government deceived them? They deceived them. Aside of deceiving them now, they went to sleep. See, they promised to create a district during the OT regional creation. They went to sleep on it because the CI that established OT region, the CI 112, came into force in February 2019.
I wish we could just roll the excerpts of the Justice Brobe Commission's report to you. If that's ready, we'll bring that to you, where the report enlisted a number of areas that should be captured in the new area that you're talking about.
And I'm saying that the CI 112,
yes,
which established Oti region, came into force in February 2019. So from February 2019 till about June 2020, that was such a long time to have created a district that would have enabled the Electoral Commission ample time to have a CI that would be laid before Parliament to even have a constituency also created. The government went to sleep. It is that sleep, I don't want them to continue sleeping. That's why I'm asking the Attorney General the kind of question.
Right. Could the problem not be coming from the people? What you want to
Let me just chip in something. Right. Honorable Kofi Adams was saying that we went to sleep. That is not.
No, not you. I'm just saying you went to sleep. I said government went to sleep.
Yes, I was
just do what they have to do.
But to add to that, you see, I have taught, I'm not a lawyer by profession.
Yes, but you can.
But you see, the CI 112 itself has its own challenges. Because when you look at the CI 112, it is saying that Oti region shall comprise of the following schedules. That is the existing 8 districts that we know.
Right, and then we can bring that onto the screen.
And then the following
excerpts of the commission. I guess that's what you're.
And the following traditional areas.
Right.
And you know, traditional areas don't have any LI to support them or cave them into any administrative district.
Right.
So if you talk to the learned men who, the lawyers, they will tell you that the CI 112 itself had a problem because SALL areas that they cave there as traditional areas cannot be qualified to be captured in that form because they have no administrative or there is no LI to establish that.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
So it was based on that Lolobi and Akwafu traditional areas took the Attorney General and EC.
In this case, you are referring to the CI 112, not 119.
No, I'm talking about 112.
112 is what created Oti region.
Yes.
Right.
119 is what created electoral areas for the 2019 December district level elections.
Yes,
so you are talking about 112, which created, that was the one that...
But the 112 should have contained districts, but not traditional areas.
No, I'm saying that you mentioned CI 119. That's what I'm saying.
But you are referring to
112.
Yes.
So you could see that the 112 itself is problematic from the beginning. Like Honorable has said, I think the 7th Parliament didn't do any...
Okay, but briefly, what are you going to do next? Are we seeing a demonstration, or what are you going to do to mount pressure to get some solution to this?
No, it is not about mounting pressure because you as journalists, you are the 4th arm of government. And now that you have known that from day one, Article 5.2 have been violated. Number 2, the Justice Brobe's Commission, which should have given the free access or for the courts to proceed, is still in an individual's pocket. You see, these are public documents that somebody... You see, I think what we should do is that the journalists...
You want the commission reports published. That's what you want.
It had been published. You see?
Yes. So I'm surprised you're saying this in someone's...
Yes, because you see, the courts don't have it. That is what I am saying.
Okay, well.
Because you see, before you go on appeal, the registrar of the court needed that physical document to this, and where are signatures of who and what took part is there. Because if we go back to the Justice Brobe report, the excerpts that were published, you could see that page 91 itself, just as what you wanted to project, is very problematic. Because if my memory serves me right, that page 91 is saying that the following...
let's just bring that so we can help you out understand what's happening, and then I'll bring in Kofi Adams because this is what you were talking about, the beginning point of it, right?
Yes, they said the joint
consultative committee, JCC. You have a problem with the JCC,
of the people of the northern part of Delta region presented a petition dated 6 June 2017 to the President of Ghana demanding the creation of a region out of existing Volta region. And I can speak on authority that Lolobi and Akwafu traditional areas have no knowledge of who even created that because you see, before you create a committee, I mean, you must have participatory the stakeholders.
So you feel it wasn't done properly? Let me.
Not that it wasn't done properly.
But you were not
I believe
you were
that
not part of the process.
this is somebody's imagination. It came from nowhere. Because you see, let me just learn. Because you see, the problems that pertain in Ketekrachi may not be identical to those in Lolobi or Akpafu.
Okay.
Yes, because you move from one region to the other based on your peculiar needs or the challenges that you have. Because, for instance, if you look at the reason why Ketekrachi was very, strong in advocating for the OT region is that traveling from Ketekrachi to Ho is a day's journey.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
And for us in Akpafu and Olobi, traveling to Ho is a matter of 2 or 3 hours. Okay. But right now that the capital has been moved to Dambai, the same problem that Ketekrachi is having, we will still have it because it will take us about 4 or 5 hours
so
to get there.
the problem has been reversed.
So that is why I am saying that this, what was captured in that layout, cannot be true because you see, if you look at the other 5 regions that were created, each traditional area was assessed based on their own merits and demerits. So it is wrong for anybody to come and lump that all the people from Lolobi, Akpafu, all the way to Ketekrachi would put in a joint one single application, which is a little bit strange to me.
So Mr. Adams, what more actions will you put in place to check this seeming plan you're saying that government is having just to create confusion within your constituency?
Well, for me, who believes in representation of the people, I will continue to now push further the Electoral Commission that now the draft CI has been returned to them, so they must come lay it. When they have laid it, it is now left for the decision of Parliament and maybe courts to determine whether the people must have their representation in the 8th Parliament or they have to wait till the 9th Parliament before they get their representation. The other proposal being pushed by the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, for me, is not workable. That you should annul a district in OT region, denying us of development.
Some say you're scared. That's why you're doing all of
Scared
this.
of what?
of perhaps losing him.
Oh, how?
To go for another round.
First and foremost, let me tell you clearly.
Right.
Buem is a constituency the NDC as a party has never lost before, right from 1992. We have won it comfortably. Indeed, in 2020, I increased the gap, even though the person I was contesting against was even more resourceful because he was the DCE, and they had all these COVID funds and the rest at their disposal to do whatever they wanted to do. I increased the gap. The gap was even bigger. When I was recording over 18,000 votes, he was having a mere 5,000 votes. So I am in a very comfortable position when it comes to Buem. In the Guan area where they voted only presidential, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo had only 2,000. President John Dramani Mahama had over 10,000. So there again, it is a place that we are comfortably placed. So it is not about winning or not winning, but it's about wasting the
with
people's
or
time.
without SALL, you feel you are
wasting
fine.
the people's time
Right.
and asking them to go back and do what it is that they would have done on the 7th of December, but you stop them. The Electoral Commission issued this statement to stop them, and you have a copy. And I have told you that material have been packed. I personally went to campaign in all the 4 traditional areas, despite the challenging environment that was existing then, of they rejecting that they really didn't want to have anything to do with Buem. I visited all the 4 traditional areas. Akpafu, Central Kofi, Lolobi, and Likpe. I visited all those areas. The last 3 days, I spent it in campaigning there. Spent resources. So I know my strength. That's not what I'm worried about. Right. It's not about winning, but the fact that a government will even sit and think about a proposal that let's go and annul LI 2416, and therefore one district will cease to exist, meaning that OT region will be reduced by 1 district, is my worry. That how can you have a government that says that we want to increase the frontiers of local governance by creating new regions, to now be suggesting that we want to cut off a district and reduce the districts in a particular region to a lesser number.
How about the inconvenience it will create for the incumbent MP, for instance, the Honorable John Peter Mill? Are you not mindful of that?
What inconvenience is that going to create?
Because obviously, if we're to reverse the situation and not go by creating a new constituency, that would mean that SALL would have to participate in the Hohwe elections, because we would have been reversing the trend.
It is the Attorney General that is bringing that proposal.
Right.
What I know is that Akpafu and Lolobi are indicating that they don't want to belong to what? OT region. That matter, for now, I don't want to talk about that. That one is Dr. Joe and his group's issue that they have put. I don't want to talk about that now for very obvious reasons. I don't want to, and I will not deny them that right for them to belong where they think they must belong. If they didn't petition, that is a matter I will encourage them to fight to its logical conclusion. My fight is that the people must have a representation. And that is why I'm asking the Attorney General to hurry. The Attorney General and the Electoral Commission should not even have a sleep. If I were a member of the Electoral Commission of Ghana, I will not have a sleep until I have resolved this problem. But it looks like they are feeling too comfortable.
There's an IPAC meeting, so let's hope that something will
And I'm saying that they are feeling too This should not be an IPAC thing. This should not be, after all, they said IPAC is advisory. That's the position of the EC, the commissioner. That is just advisory. What advice do you need when you yourself claimed that the people have accepted and have agreed to the capital of the constituency, and you had a CI ready, except that the number of days the 7th Parliament was going to sit was not enough to have led to the maturity of that CI. That was why you didn't lay it. What has stopped you from bringing same before the 8th Parliament? For the whole of 2021, you didn't do it. What about the case of human rights that they have also filed, that they were not given the right to exercise their franchise where they belong? He stated that the Electoral Commission on the 30th November organized a press conference and said they will vote in their mother constituency. What they know as their mother constituency, where they have always voted under CI 95, is Hohwe. So what was the Electoral Commission communicating when they said mother constituency? Because their mother constituency is not Buem. They have never voted under Buem. Since 1992, Buem has been what it is. Why do you even think of adding 4 traditional areas to another constituency?
Yeah, but,
but unfortunately, we need to go. We don't have
yes,
all
I
of
believe.
the time.
Let me just chip in.
We have a few seconds to go.
Yeah.
So just
you see, I would think that we need to commend the Attorney General for admitting that he has erred in 1 or 2 deliberations, because we told him earlier on that the creation of the Guan district was in error, and they had gone to review the decision. So I believe the way forward is that we should rather encourage them. Because if we don't do that, and then, Article 47(2) also says that this
we need to go.
Will not transverse between 2 regions.
Okay.
So I believe that the case must be referred to Parliament, and then they do a bipartisan discussion, and they can advise the House on the way forward.
I'm grateful. Dr. Joe Adai is co-chair for the group, and we also have Honorable Kofi Adams. This is The Pulse. When we get back, we'll bring you some more stories. Stay with us.